This is the poem. I'll read out the poem first, okay? And then we'll go for the analysis and the explanation. This poem is by Subramania Bharati. Subramania Bharati, born in 1882, passed away in 1921, is a great Tamil poet. He was famous for his patriotism in the pre-independence era, like most of the poets, like we have read Rabindranath Tagore also, yearning for freedom. A.K. Ramanujan is a Kannada and English poet, well known for his translation of classical and modern poetry. So you have to remember that this poem was written in Tamil, okay, by Subramania Bharati. That is why it's difficult to, maybe it was a rhyming poem when it was first written in Tamil, but it is not so now, okay, when it is translated in English, because it's not, easy to maintain the rhyme and the rhythm, and to translate is also translate it also and do justice to the translation. Okay. Wind came softly. Wind come softly. Don't break the shutters of the windows. Don't scatter the papers. Don't throw down the books on the shelf. There, look what you did. You threw them all down. You tore the pages of the books. You brought rain again. You're very clever at poking fun at weaklings. Frail, crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling hearts. The wind god winnows and crushes them all. He won't do what you tell him. So come, let's build strong homes. Let's joint the doors firmly. Practice to firm the body. Make the heart steadfast. Do this, and the wind will be friends with us. The wind blows out weak fires. He makes strong fires roar and flourish. His friendship is good. We praise him every day. This is the poem. It's a short poem. It's a very easy poem as well. And I have prepared the explanation in the form of a PowerPoint presentation for you all. So we come straight to the explanation. These are the first lines, okay? The poem is not divided into paragraphs. So I've just divided them on the basis of, the explanation that needs to be done for those lines. Now, wind comes softly. Don't break the shutters of the windows. So now the tone of the poet is like that of a person who has authority over wind. It's as if wind is a child. So see how he's talking to the wind like how a mother would speak to a child. Don't break this, don't do this. Look. Poking fun is making fun of something. Weakling is a person or anything that is considered weak, without strength. So this is the explanation. The poet is talking to the wind. He's asking, there are a lot of things he tells the wind to do. Come softly, don't be strong, don't be loud, be soft and subtle. And then he says that the wind is very powerful. Okay, later on, after he has finished giving orders to the wind, The poet acknowledges what all the wind can do. So when the wind, and why is he asking the wind to come softly? Because when the wind is powerful, destruction happens. And what is the destruction that happens? Sorry. The papers are scattered, the shutters of the windows break, the books scatter. Okay, and then when the open books are fluttering, the pages of the open books are fluttering, the pages get torn. So, and in the end, the poet also says one more thing that is done by the wind. What is, what does it do? It brings rain. Okay, you know, strong winds blow, especially during the rainy season. The clouds either, the clouds are moved from one place to the other. So he says that the wind, not only is he treating wind like a small child, he also wants the wind to behave like a small child and not like a youth, the strong wind of youth, which is destructive. Because youth, if not guided properly, can be destructive to itself and its surroundings. In the same way, wind, which is very strong, uncontrollable, can also cause destruction. Then he talks further about the destruction that can be caused. See, earlier he was only talking about the tearing of pages or the shuttering of windows, the books falling from the shelves, that's all. Now he talks about other things. Frail crumbling houses, crumbling doors, crumbling rafters, crumbling wood. Beta, just 1 second. Let me give me some time to change the connection. I am going to use some other connection now. Please don't share your screen. Yes, children. I've changed the network. I hope this doesn't create a problem. So as I've told you, there is a connectivity issue here, and so I have to try all kind of whatever networks are available at home. I try all of theirs whenever there is a problem, and not a single one works all the time. It's like we have to change and see which one is better, Geo or Idea, whatever. So children, um, he looks at the poet here takes the name of some things around him which are not in a good state, which are in a damaged condition, and which need some kind of attending to, some kind of repair or something that is going wrong. See, he talks about houses, doors, rafters. Rafters are the, in South Indian homes, you see huge planks of wood around the ceiling on which the roof of the house, is supported. That are called rafters. So houses, then doors, rafters, wood. Then he talks about crumbling bodies. Then he talks about crumbling lives and then crumbling hearts. Now, the important thing to notice here is that from talking about something that wind can damage, house a wind can damage, the doors, the rafters, wood, fine. These things can be damaged by the woods. But suddenly, the poet has now moved to some serious things. Okay, things which cannot be hurt by the wind. You know, the bodies, lives, and crumbling hearts. That means now he is using wind after giving an impression of wind as the ways in which it can harm, the damage, the things around us, the physical things around us. Now the wind has changed into a symbol for the problems in life. Okay, the issues that we have to face in life, and those winds of problems, those storms. Okay, see, the problems are usually referred to as storms. So those storms, now he stopped talking about the wind, which is a natural phenomenon. He's talking about something else now. So we have to understand it. So he's talking about those things which can crumble lives, which can damage lives, hearts, bodies. See, look at the explanation for these lines. Here the word crumbling is repeated so many times. So we see there is one figure of speech, repetition. Okay. So the word crumbling, why is it repeated so many times? To lay stress, to emphasize that everything crumbles in the face of a strong wind. So the writer says that when the wind is strong, very powerful, it can lead to damage. Houses which are weak fall, doors which are weak fall, the beams on which the roof of the buildings are supported, they also fall. The wooden structures, they also fall. Now the bodies of people, animals, lives, hearts falls. So everything now falls in the face of adversity. Adversity means problems. When things are not in a perfect shape, when things go wrong, when problems take place, when problems, you come face to face with problems, what happens? So when anything which is weak, like a weak house, will fall when there is a strong wind. A weak life which is not strong in its foundation, a weak person who doesn't have strong values to support him, they will fail in the face of a problem, right? Now, the next line of the poem is, the wind god winnows and crushes them all. Now, the poem began with the poet talking to the wind, admonishing it. It was kind of reprimanding the wind, scolding the wind, talking to it with authority, as if the wind were a child. Now the wind has been promoted to a higher position. The poet now calls it wind god. The wind god winnows and crushes them all. So now this wind god is actually god or destiny, who winnows and crushes them all. What is winnowing? To break grain free of chaff separate grain from husk by blowing on it. You know, when you pass by, on a highway, uh, fields are, at the either sides of the highway, or when you're passing through a village during harvest time and winnowing time, you know how husk is separated from the corn. Like when your mother has roasted the peanuts and then she has to separate the peanuts uh, from the chaff, how she winnows it. Okay, she slightly rocks the peanuts on the plate, and then uh, the covering is separated from the peanuts. Okay, that is called winnowing. Now, why do you do that? You do that to separate the thing that you want to throw and the thing that you want to keep. What is thrown away? Thing that doesn't have substance, the thing that doesn't have any value. So those things which do not have value, just blow on them and they will go. This has a huge meaning. What it means is that God gives us problems so that the strong can stay and the weak can blow away in that storm. Okay, so this is a symbol, an allegory, a metaphorical use of the action of winnowing, where God uses this wind as a way to separate the good from the bad, the strong from the weak, from things that has no value to things which have value. Okay, now let's read this explanation. The poet is addressing the wind as wind god. Okay, now this wind god, because it has all the power now, it is all powerful. So the powerful god of wind winnows. That means he sifts, he separates all the people, and those people who are weak fall down and get crushed, and those who are strong, they get to stay and stand up again, and you know help the world with their strength. So here a comparison is made between grain and people. Just like we winnow the wheat or any other grain to separate the grain from the chaff, the covering, the wind god also separates the strong people from the weak people. So when there is a strong wind, all the things that are weak fall and get crushed. See, you can use this symbol in the present situation as well. This problem that the entire world is facing right now, this is like the wind, the strong wind. Those people who are physically strong and also mentally strong, they will survive this, and when this storm is over, they will get on with the lives in a normal way. Okay, and then they'll pick up from where they had stopped. But those people who have weak bodies and a weak temperament, a weak mind, they will get crushed. In what way? See, the people with weak bodies or weak immunities, they will they will not survive. We know because of the sickness. Now, the more important thing is the people with weak minds. That means people who cannot handle this new way of living, of staying indoors, of following the new kind of governance, the new kind of rules, the new, so getting used to this new kind of living, getting away from what was considered normal. Now there is a new normal. Okay, so The people who cannot take it, there are people who are emotionally so weak, they cannot take the stress. Okay. There are people who will start shouting and who will keep complaining the whole day. Okay. Who will not eat a single meal without creating a fuss, who will create a fuss over anything and everything. Those kind of people, they are distorting their personality. If you continue to do the same thing, okay, you are not only um, adding negativity in your life, but also in the lives of others who are around you. And we are in a closed space for a very long time. We have never done this ever before in our life. From the time we remember, we have always been out of the house for a certain time and then looked forward to coming back together, and then going back again to our different places and then meeting again in the evening. That was the normal, the ordinary life for us. But then being with each other the whole time and not being able to do a lot of other things which we would have otherwise wanted to do, that brings out, this is the time to test our strength. The people who can remain um, cheerful, the people who fight it in a positive way, the people who accept that okay, this is what we have to do right now, the people who can spend this time in a positive way, those are the people which are actually the grain, and they will actually remain to lead a normal life even after this, when this storm is over. Okay, so this is what the poet is talking about right now. Okay, now something more about the strong wind, the storm that the poet is talking about. He won't do what you tell him, so come, let's build strong homes. Now see, he won't do what you tell him. This line can be explained in a lot of ways, like because when God is winnowing, so God doesn't listen to you, God doesn't do what you tell him to do. Or destiny, if you talk about destiny, you cannot um, order destiny, but then you can do things to make destiny change the course of destiny the way you want it. So how do you do this? There's a solution that the poet gives us. So come, let's build strong homes. Let's join the doors firmly. Practice to firm the body, make the heart steadfast. Do this, and the wind will be friends with us. So, very positive lines, after telling what all can happen, the way the wind uses problems to separate the good from the bad, the useful from the useless. What do? We build strong homes, okay, so that the calamities cannot break our homes. Earlier, there's one thing I want to bring your notice to. He's talking about crumbling houses, right? He talks about crumbling houses here. And now he talks of building strong homes. So, children, these are minor things. Earlier, he had spoken about the house, but now he's talking of building a strong home. Because right now, he's not talking about the physical building of the house that can be blown away in the wind. He's talking about building a strong home which cannot break in the in the wake of a storm or in the face of a storm. A few days ago, there were news reports of a lot of domestic fights going on, a lot of issues where the experts were discussing that there could be a lot of cases of increased percentage of divorces. So a divorce is a breaking home. Okay, so that is why he says, let us build a strong home, because if your home is not strong enough, if the foundation of your home is not based on love and faith, so in a problem like this, that home can break easily. Okay. And then he says, let's join the doors firmly. That means, when the doors should be firmly there in the walls, the doors should be joined firmly so that no storm can take away the doors of our house. Practice to firm the body. Door, what I feel, how I interpret is that when we close the doors, what is inside should remain inside. That means the door should be so firm that nothing that is not supposed to come out in the open about the house or the home or the family should not come out. Practice to firm the body. That means that is what we are supposed to do right now. How we improve our body strength, our immunity. Make the heart steadfast. Steadfast is firm. So your heart should be firm. That means your heart should be faithful to whatever, wherever your values lie, wherever your things are. Your heart should not be like a butterfly going from one thing to the other, like how we saw in um, the lost child. Okay, the child, because he was immature, he could not put his attention or his trust or his loyalty to one thing. It kept on wavering. Okay, so we should not do, we could not be like that. If we are like that, we cannot stay firm in the when the strong wind is blowing. Do this and the wind will be friends with us. So the wind is the usual trials and tribulations of life. So when we have this, we have a strong background. That means, security. We have a strong family and we are attached to them very strongly. When the doors of the house are firm, when our bodies are strong, when our hearts are in the right place, when we are faithful and we love with all our hearts, when we are not selfish, when we have all of these things, the wind is going to be friends with us. That means no matter what problems come, no matter how strong the winds blow, we will not be uprooted by it. We will not be blown away in the wind. Now, the explanation. We'll just go through it, what I have explained so far. I'll just see if everything is here. So the poet wants us to make friends with the wind, that is the adversities in our lives. He says that the problems will not listen to us. They will come. Okay. Problems, if you may, keep praying, keep us away from all harms, all problems, but then problems do come. Okay. That is a part of life. That is the way God makes us strong. If there were no problems in our lives, we would not be strong at all. And this is one very important uh, thing, that how nature strengthens the animals. You look at the eagles. If it was not supposed to um, fly from great heights, the eagle would not have strong wings. Okay, if a deer was not supposed, faced with the challenge to run away from the lions or the tigers, the deer would never have, strong legs. If the lion did not have to hunt, that is a challenge. It's a tough life that that wild animals lead, but they all have a quality. And what gives them the quality? The problems that they face. Sorry. So we have to remember that our problems make us strong. That is why we always have to pray for strength to face the problems, the wisdom to face the problems, rather than not facing problems at all. So he says that problems will not listen to us. They will come. So we should be prepared. And how do we prepare? We build strong homes. We close the doors of our house firmly so that the wind cannot get into the house. We should also make our bodies strong and hearts firm to face those challenges. And once we are strong enough, all the challenges will be like friends. We will not feel that they are troublesome. Like the present time, we can make the best of the present time. When we come out of the lockdown, some people will have stories of victory to share. Some people will have stories of defeat. We have to decide if we have all of these qualities, and if we keep on working on these things will decide whether we have a quality of, whether we have a story of victory or a story of defeat to share. More very important lines. It's These lines are regular in the your during your exams, and or when the RTCs and the longer answers come. And the poet says, "The wind blows out the weak fires, he makes strong fires roar and flourish. His friendship is good, we praise him every day." Now, for those of you who have fireplaces in their homes, or if not a fireplace, if you have seen some place how uh, a chula is lit, or a sigdi is, lit, how you um, blow lightly. You use a small fan or something to blow it lightly, so that the wind the wind helps the coals to catch fire. But you do not do that right away. You do not put one single matchstick there and you start blowing. You don't do that. You wait for it to become slightly stronger, and then you start blowing, right? Why is that? Because if you start blowing right after you have put the matchstick there, it will blow out that weak fire. Okay. So the wind blows out the weak fires. This is another example, the way the poet has shown you in the beginning, how the wind helps to separate the strong from the, like the grain from the chaff. Here, the wind is um, blowing out the weak fires. That means all those who are weak, they will die. That means they will not be they will not have mentionable value. Their lives will not, they will go unmentioned and unnoticed and unremembered. So this is what he's talking about. Then he says, strong fires roar and flourish. That means if the fire is strong and then the wind blows, that helps the fire roar and flourish. That means, the fire flourishes, it grows, when there is a strong fire. Now, his friendship is good. We praise him every day. Now, why is the friendship good? Because here we have made friends. Here we have made friends. How can we be friends? By having all this preparation in place. When we have all this preparation, we are friends with the wind. Okay, it's almost time, but I'll just take 2 more minutes. There is no rhyme scheme. We'll just discuss the literary devices quickly. There is no rhyme scheme. Other literary devices are anaphora. Anaphora is when the word is repeated at the beginning of 2 or more consecutive lines. That is anaphora. Repetition is when the word is repeated anywhere. It can be called repetition also, but specifically when it begins in the beginning, when the word comes in the beginning, that is called anaphora. Okay. These are the examples of anaphora. Line 2, 3, and 4 begin with don't. Line 6, 7, and 8 begin with you. Personification, it's easy. The wind has been personified. Wind is treated as a person. The repetition is there. Crumbling is repeated many times. Alliteration is repeated repetition of the sound, symbolism, because wind is a symbol and wind symbolizes the challenges, the adversities, the problems in our life. Okay, and this is the short summary of the poem. That wind is a natural phenomenon. The poet talks to the wind. The power of the wind is described earlier, the slight small things, problems, then the bigger ones, and then the message that we should be physically strong in order to survive the hardships of life. And then we make these destructive forces our strength because we are strong and determined and we can face any wind that we face. All right. So I'm going to end the class here, children. And tomorrow I'm going to begin with asking you all the summary, the lines to explain, and then we'll move on to the questions. So be prepared. I'm going to ask you to raise your hands, and then you know how we always do it, the interactive class that we have. So we are going to discuss the wind tomorrow in the same manner. All right. So it was nice interacting with you, children, and see you tomorrow. Bye bye.